The Giants won the Super Bowl! Yay! Sorry, I kind of had to do that. It's a New York thing. Other than that, I'm sure everyone has noticed that we have a new Thursday. We've been talking about it all week since last week with the surprise, and it was awesome. And now we have a full week again, so that's awesome. Kirsten, like me, loves books, so I'm not even gonna, stall any longer. I just finished reading Salems Lot the end of last week. I finished this, and it's a vampire novel. Yeah, I didn't even expect that. I didn't even know what to think about this book or what it was about before going into it, but it's a vampire novel. So it's a quiet town, and these vampires come in and they set up a store of antique furniture. Nobody knows that they're vampires, and the main vampire stays hidden in a house, and the house has a history too, because there was a murder committed at that house a long time ago. I'm not going to give away the ending, but this is a vampire novel done right. All you Twilight fans, you've become a victim of falling for all the hype and the bad writing, because I've, read and it's really bad. But this is a vampire novel done right. Vampires don't go out during the day. They're not shiny, alright? They sleep during the day like a vampire's supposed to. You could actually stake them and then they die. With all that said, would I recommend this book to all of you guys? Probably not unless you really like vampires. If you like vampires, then go ahead, read it. But I have to give it a 5 out of 10. And here's why. I'm on the fence about this book, and here's why. I don't want to ruin the ending, but the ending leaves you wondering, what's next? And I don't like having that feeling. When I finish a book, I like the feeling of closure. I like the feeling of, oh, I accomplished this book, and I know how it ends. It's a concrete ending. This ending wasn't as concrete. Furthermore, I really, really loved this book right into the middle. And that's when the writing got bad. So, the main character in this book is a writer who goes to his childhood place where he grew up, Salems Lot, to write a book about the house that had the murders in it and everything. And he meets a girl, and he's falling in love with the girl, and I'm like, yes, there's an emotional tie, because it's always good when there's emotional tie. And then the girl gets captured, and I'm like, yes, that's good, because when the girl gets captured, he has a reason to go and save her. And then something happens to the girl that takes it all away. Everything. In the middle of the book. Not at the end of the book where all the action normally happens, but most of the action finishes in the middle of the book. And that sort of, the rest of the book was just, droning on and on about the aftermath. So that's Salems Lot. So I finished Salems Lot at the end of last week, and I decided to start reading another book. I had gone to the Strand a few days ago and had picked up a book that I saw. As many of you know, I love carnivorous plants. And so when I saw this book, I had to pick it up. A Guide to Carnivorous Plants of the World by Gordon Shears. And so I decided to read it. Now, of course, I didn't read... he has a lot of lists in this book. At the end, he has a list of all the species and a calendar of what you could do for each genus every month. And that's all boring. So what I did do was I read the beginning. Yeah, and this is more like a reference book. So it's that you can't read it like a novel. So, But what I did do was I read the descriptions of all the species, the history part, the folklore part, the guide to growing, and I can honestly say, highly disappointed in this book. So mad at you! So mad at you! Here's the thing. For such a big book, it certainly has a lot of nice pictures. I mean, I could just open up to a random page and you see it has a lot of nice pictures. However, the descriptions are lacking, and the number of species it describes is also lacking. This is a book from Australia. It's not commonly found here in the US. So what I did like was that it focused a lot on species that are found over there in Australia. What I don't like is the species I like to grow, the American species, were really, really poorly represented in this book. This book does have a redeeming feature though. At the end of this book there's a field notes section, and what it is the author's experience searching in the wild for carnivorous plants to photograph them, to study them. And so that is really cool because he talks about going to Borneo and then going to South America and climbing the Teepee Mountains and going on a drive in Australia looking for the Australian pitcher plant Cephalotus. Those were about the best, I'd say, 15 pages in this book. And to tell the truth, if he had written an entire book, if the book were field notes while searching for carnivorous plants of the world, and it was just field notes, I would have been very, very much more happy than this. Now, if you collect carnivorous plants, sure, go ahead, buy this book. It has a lot of nice pictures, and it'll be one good for the collection. However, if you're interested about learning carnivorous plants, this book has to get a 3 out of 10. But I'm not going to leave you guys high and dry, so if you're looking for a book on carnivorous plants, for its information content, I wouldn't recommend you get this one. I would recommend, however, that you get The Savage Garden by Peter D'Amato. For its information content and everything, I would probably rate this 9 out of 10. I've read it about 3 times, which is why my copy is pretty worn down. Peter D'Amato owns one of the biggest carnivorous plant nurseries here in America. It's called California Carnivorous. It's in California, obviously. And he's been growing these plants for a very long time. The book is only 20 bucks, but if you buy it from his website, he'll send you a signed copy, which is pretty awesome. Due to the size of the book compared to this one, its pictures aren't as big. I mean, obviously, just by sheer proportions, you can't get big pictures like this in here. But it does have a large amount of pictures, and the information content is also better, easier to understand, and it's sort of a complete guide, because not only does it give you information on how to grow the plants, but it also gives you information on where the plants are located in this world and a bit of history for each plant. Now, I still haven't found a book that goes over all the species of carnivorous plants, because that would be a volume encyclopedia set, but this one's a very good one that it's highly recommended. So after reading the carnivorous plant book, I started to read another book, this one here. It's called Anywhere Out of the World, and it's a bunch of essays on travel, writing, and death. And this is what I'm reading now, so I'll review it when I'm done. I know, books, books, books. That's all I have time for today. Kirsten, see you tomorrow. Everyone else, next week.